Good morning. Welcome to Moxie Monday. We are going to be talking about buyers presentations today and the opportunity that you have in Moxie Present to pull down the brand content and create an amazing buyer's presentation. We really need to we need to continue to sell our value proposition to our buyers along with all of these NAR changes that are coming. We know the value prop that we have for our buyers, but we have to be able to share that with them. And Moxie Present is going to give us a fantastic way to do that. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Of course, we're going to start in Desk. You're going to have to find your MoxiWorks Square. And then once that loads in, you're going to want to make sure that you're in Moxie Present, which is that first option right here in the blue bar. It says Present. When you click on that, you'll have your dashboard landing here. Now, depending on how many times you've been present, you may not have any presentations if you're brand new, or like this test account here, you'll see there's a lot of different presentations. There's page count at the bottom. So if you're looking for one and you can't find it, do know that there is more than one page there. You can also filter on how those view up in the upper right corner. You can do recently updated, date created, or by title, which would be an alpha search result by title. You can also search in the name. If you happen to know the name of either the client that you created it for or the property, you can search for it there as well. Plus, you can filter which presentation do you want to look for, seller, buyer tour, non-listing, or archived, because you can archive your presentations as well. We're going to go ahead and jump into a brand new buyer presentation. To do so, in the upper right corner, you want to click Create New in that blue box, and then your presentation types will come up. Now, there is a buyer tour, which is also a really great product. If you have somebody new coming into town, maybe you have 5 or 6 properties you want to show them, you can pull them in from your MLS. It'll map it out, plus put the property information in there for your buyer so that you can send to them ahead of time, or you can always send it to them after too to remind them which properties they looked at. But the particular product here we're going to talk about today is the buyer presentation right here. So when you click the radial button there, you'll see that continue popped up as an option. So we're going to click continue. Now here is where you want to drop your box down and you want to choose Coldwell Banker in parentheses parent company templates. This is the content coming to us from our brand. And you'll see that you have a few different options here. You have your 12-minute, which if you go to pages here, it'll explain all the pages that you have. This one's 13 pages. You have more encompassing information here with 26 pages. And again, when you click on the little blue link for pages, it gives you the title of the pages. And I did want to point out, we also have a Spanish buyer opportunity now, which is fantastic for those working with bilingual consumers. We do have one that is in Spanish now as well, brought to us from the brand. So even though you're choosing your template, if you don't want to talk about the pre-approval process, maybe they're already pre-approved and you had that conversation, you can always remove that page later, but you can pull in the all-encompassing template here with all 26 pages. You can always remove pages you don't want or add pages that you maybe have created by yourself, or maybe the marketing group created for you, whatever those options may be. So just to choose the template, know that you have further customization options later on. So once you have the template that you would like, you want to click continue. Now keep in mind, we did have to drop this box down here and choose the Coldwell Banker parent company templates. So once we have that, you click continue. Presentation name, this will show up to the consumer. So you want to make sure that it is user-friendly. And we'll just put Mr. and Mrs. Homebuyer. I don't have an MLS attached to this particular account I'm in, but you can make sure that you choose whichever MLS that you're a member of if you're a member of more than one. If you're only a member of one, that will come up. You won't even have to choose it. But if you have more than one, you can choose which MLS you want here. Because even though this is a buyer presentation to speak about the value we bring for our buyers, you can also put in listings if you choose to. If you've already had the conversation with them, you know what they're looking for, you can pull in those listings from the MLS. So it is important to choose the MLS that you want here if you have more than one. You also, just like on the CMA side, the competitive market analysis side, you have the option to choose classic, which is our residential blue, or luxury, which is our Coldwell Banker luxury black branding. So we'll go ahead and just leave it on classic, and we're going to click create. Now that is going to take a second. Eventually you're going to get a spinny circle there. And now your presentation is going to allow you to now customize it. So just like on the CMA side, you have your 5 ways of customizing. It defaults to subject property, which you may not have one because it's a buyer presentation. You can search for those listings if you want to pull some in. Then you can manipulate what those listings look like here on the listings page. Probably not going to have an estimate on a buyer, but maybe if that's a question they asked, you'd want to pull in what the estimate looks like. And then you have your page count here. So previously we had talked about this INRIX drive time could be important, right? For a buyer, if you are pulling in listings that maybe they will be touring, you can start with their work address here, and that will allow them to know how much drive time they'll have from each of those subject properties that you add in. Just like on the CMA side, you can click on any one of these here, or you can click continue through the lower right corner. Because this is a buyer presentation, not specific to any properties, brand new in the relationship, I'm meeting a new buyer for the first time, and we just want to talk about what I can provide to them as a buying agent in real estate, I'm going to skip right to pages here. That is going to pull up all of those same pages that you viewed when we first chose our template. And again, from here, you can have the opportunity to delete. If you hover over the page you may not want, you can click the X that will remove it from your presentation. If you're wanting to add pages in, you click add page. You can either create brand new right from here, or you can add from the library. So you'll see that if you've ever created pages in the past that you've saved for yourself, it'll be under my pages. Our brokerage pages will come up from our blue book and our black book. Those are loaded in. And then all of the additional content brought to us from the brand, you can see there's 254 unique pages. You also have the opportunity to pull in more content from them. But keep in mind, the original 26 pages in the template already came over from the brand. That's not quite wanting to load. Oh, there it is. So you'll see that you have a lot of this content that you can pull in as well. Keep in mind, we do have those Spanish offerings now as well, which is really nice if you're working with somebody that is speaking Spanish. So we're going to go back to our pages here, 26, and then we're just going to go ahead and click view and then web. And I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what content is being pulled in. So our presentation is ready. We're going to scroll down to our home buyer guide, which is our first one. If this looks a little big, you can always zoom out so that you can see more of the page on your screen. Just depending on your browser and your system, it will load a little bit different. But you'll see it's going to stay branded to you as the agent with your headshot and name, and then also, of course, your branding here in the upper right corner. Now, keep in mind, if we had chosen the luxury option, that would be our Coldwell Banker luxury logo there. But we did choose classic, which is our regular residential. So you'll see there's a cover page here, talks about making your dreams real, talks about the support that a buyer agent will provide to a buyer, experience, professional guidance, local market knowledge, all of the things that you guys know well, time-saving convenience, negotiation skills, super important there, and then peace of mind. So you'll see that this just really speaks truly to buyers in the market. And it's not necessarily first-time home buyers. It can be any buyer that maybe they haven't purchased a home in a while, or they just can't remember what the process was because it's been, too long since they've had to go through it. So this really speaks to what you can provide to them as a buyer's agent. And keep in mind, all of this came from the brand. There's nothing that you have to recreate here. It's all in here for you. Step-by-step guide talks about contingencies, talks about the process, how you partner with them as the buyer's agent through the process. So it really gives them a good idea of how you can assist your client through the buyer process. Talks about agent compensation. If this doesn't speak to you and how you are proposing compensation to your buyer, keep in mind you can remove this page directly from that template. And you'll see there's beautiful photography, amazing content, and all of this is provided to you. As you can see, a 26-page presentation, and it took all of 2 minutes for us to create it. So keep in mind, if there's anything that you see that you want to tweak, when you go back, we're in view, so we're going to close that tab. Now we're back in our Moxie Present widget. All of these can just be deleted. So you can remove those out of there if you so choose. Once you've manipulated some of these, maybe you've added some pages, maybe you removed some pages, you can now save this as a template for yourself. So we're going to go ahead and just do Carrie's buyer presentation. And you can choose to save it as a buyer because that's what it is, of course. You can always choose to save it as all if you want it available no matter how you start the process. and then click Save. Now we're going to go back to Moxie Present dashboard. And now when we click Create New and we choose Buyer, you're going to see that in my templates, I now have my buyer's presentation. So you may take a little bit of extra time, do a little bit of extra legwork the first time you go through the buyer presentation, take some pages out, add some pages in, then you have your template that you can create the next time for your next buyer. So it's a really nice way to customize it, but then not have to recreate the wheel every single time. Once you've created that test, you'll see Mr. and Mrs. Homebuyer. That's what we created. You can always go back in to view it, to share it, email it. You can go through your settings here. If you didn't save it as a template, but you want to create it for another buyer, you can always duplicate it from here as well. Just a lot of options. If you're working with a co-agent, you can add a co-presenter so you both have access to it in your Moxie Present. Or if you're an administrative assistant or an assistant to an agent and you're creating it for them, you can always assign it to that agent. That way they'll have access to it in their Moxie Present as well. And of course, if you click the pencil, you can always go right back into that widget and you'll see that you're right back to where you started. You have all your options at the top. If you're not adding anything with listings, you can jump right to your pages and you'll see that we're right back here along with the ability to add pages, both custom and those that already have been loaded in. So what questions do you guys have for me today about Moxie Present buyer presentations? Keep in mind, you can't break it. So I highly recommend you jumping in there, going through the process, customizing it as you see fit, and then working with the product when you have a buyer coming in to work with you. Keep in mind, we went to view the web, but you also have the opportunity to print portrait or print landscape, any of this content. You don't even have to do it for the whole product. You can print just those pages. Maybe you're supplementing it with a paper presentation that you utilize. You can always use the product that way as well. So I don't see any questions today. I will thank you for your time as always.
Well, let me ask. I got in a little bit late, and where can I find the recording? Where can I find a recording of these sessions?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So you're going to want to go to schmidtvideoclassroom.com and you'll see if you go to playlists, we have, if you scroll down, let me find the right one, Moxie Mondays. All of the recordings are put into here. And it's usually about an hour to two after. You'll see all of our recordings are loaded right into here.
Thank you.
So you have the options to go through it here, or you can always search that playlist as well. Right from that little, it's kind of hidden, but there is a magnifying glass here. You can search for it there. So maybe you want to learn more about Engage. If you type in Engage, it'll pull up those options.
Okay, that is very helpful. There are a few sessions I need to go back and catch up on. So
okay, yeah, that's where you'll find them.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, well, thanks everyone for your time. I truly appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. Bye now.
You too. Bye-bye.